We are now going to have a member of IDEG Council, Ms. Phyllis Christian, who will address us on the fellowship program on public service memoir.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the presentation is related to the theme of putting learning, cumulative knowledge and experience at the heart of nation building and democracy through public service memoirs fellowships. The book that the Right Honourable Joyce Bamford Addo launched a short while ago as the biography of our beloved Justice D.F. Annan manifests the realization of a dream that Justice Annan could not achieve in his lifetime. He wanted to pen his own autobiography, to tell his own story about what motivated him to serve Ghana the way he did and why, the values that determined his selflessness, and the lessons he learned there too. Surely he had timeless knowledge as well that he wanted to share and leave behind in writing, to the greater benefit of his successors, future leaders, and posterity. Simply, Justice Annan wanted to produce his own narrative of his public service to Ghana. He was keen to explain why he responded to the call to serve the country, the nation, and democracy at the time he did, and to account for the challenges and how he managed them. The truth is, he was not able to fulfill that specific dream, not only because he fell ill and passed away, but also because the nation he served so well had no organized facilities to assist him and others like him to fulfill that particular dream in retirement. Proactively and informally, he sought assistance from Parliament and the government to enable him write his memoirs, but no such facility appeared to exist to be offered. Ghanaian private business and the universities could not also assist. Eventually, two independent civil society think tanks, that is the IEA, which is the Institute of Economic Affairs, and ourselves, IDEG, offered limited and ad hoc assistance. The IEA enrolled him as senior fellow and offered office space, research assistance, and administrative facilities. However, it could not sustain financing of the entire autographical project, which depended solely on the goodwill and generosity of the donors. So, IDEG offered complementary support, having secured sustained financing for the entire Justice D.F. Annan biographical project from the African Capacity Building Foundation, which is ACBF. The launching of the biography today brings that project to an end. Justice Annan's inability to write his autobiography, principally because of the lack of a well-thought-through and secure financial facility, is not an isolated case. It is indeed the common problem of almost all senior citizens who, on retirement, seek to put into writing their invaluable knowledge, experience, and insights into leadership and selfless public service. Few have successfully done so on their own, by drawing on their own financial and other resources and with support from friends. But the majority have often felt frustrated and quietly taking all their invaluable knowledge away when they have departed life on this earth. Ghana, and for that matter all of us, as well as posterity, are the greatest losers of the prevailing situation. The loss is immeasurable, but palpable in several ways. By not having a policy and system in place to ensure that the experiences, knowledge, insights, and the achievements and failures of senior citizens who served selflessly and courageously are documented in writing and archives, we lose vital institutional knowledge and memories. The loss is evident in areas such as archiving or storage of knowledge, retrieval and use of knowledge, and institutionalization of best practices in public policy formulation and implementation, the management of public affairs generally, and in international negotiations. The impact of this loss of knowledge is evident in practically all spheres of national life: government, parliament, business, or the private sector, civil society, chieftaincy and in the community at large. There's always room for improvement in respect of the performance of men and women who are put into leadership positions in the public service and in the private sector and society at large. On the other hand, there are also individuals and groups who have made great sacrifices and demonstrated great talent, skill, and passion in serving the country through politics, economic management, business, and in the communities, whose stories are never told. I find that in my own personal experience, I've known many great people who have not wanted to share their experiences, not because they can't, but because they are retreating and don't want to be seen as showing off. And so what happens is they also need somebody to encourage them to want to write. And that departs from even your inability to write. It's more the fact that they are shy. They don't want to talk about themselves. And so this is a great initiative on the part of IDEG to encourage, not only to get people to write, but to encourage them to do so and to discourage them from being reticent about writing about their stories. I have an example, for instance, again, of an individual that we wanted to honor, and he categorically said, no, I'm not interested, I don't want to be honored, I don't want to talk about what I've done. And I said, but you should, because otherwise nobody knows except those of us who knew you. And after several months of encouraging him, we decided we're actually going to advertise for people to get to know him. And so we could have a fundraising to help him write his book. And he said, oh, I've seen the quarter-page advertisement that you want to put in the papers for me. I'm very encouraged by what you're trying to do. But I suggest that rather than a quarter page, people might not really know, so make it a full page. What I'm saying is that it took us to encourage him to want to take the initiative and write. And so I really encourage Dr. Akwete and the management team to continue doing this. Their achievements may be even less known to the wider body of citizens because there's no policy and system of assisting them to write down their knowledge and experiences in the domains they served in. This has an unfortunate cumulative effect. Such loss of institutional knowledge serves to undermine nation building and democracy in Ghana by unnecessarily prolonging the learning process. The lack of it can impact negatively on the quality of public policy making and implementation, public service delivery, policy ownership, and the sustained development of our country. It is curious, for example, that we are increasingly finding the management of the democratic transition of power after elections difficult, despite the fact that there have been several transitions of power in the post-independence history of Ghana. The writings of senior citizens who have demonstrated selfless public service careers can serve as the benchmark and quality assurance check for our political leaders. Through the writings of our great statesmen, we can measure how far our leaders depart from true public service. We can gauge the extent to which these values have been distorted in the performance of our leaders and remind them about what others have accomplished through selfless, incorruptible service to the community, as well as to its collective well-being. These writings also help to demonstrate to the extent to which we are competent, experienced, and equipped to enrich our governance and capacity building systems with our own indigenous resources. As a state and nation, we must prioritize learning and experience learning. We must apply cumulative knowledge and experience in the modernization of society, in scientific and technological innovation, in improving economic performance, and accelerating social development for improved quality of life of the people. With the benefit of its success in recording the public life of the late Justice D.F. Annan, the Governing Council of the Institute for Democratic Governance, of which I am a member, has decided that a fellowship program be established to support and encourage senior Ghanaian citizens who have excelled in public service to enable them to write their memoirs. The biography of the late Justice Annan is the first product under the program. It is now our intention to mobilize financial and logistical resources to support a steady expansion of the program. Our experience so far instructs us that sustained financing of a fellowship program is the key to bridging the wide gap in institutional memory, cumulative knowledge, and learning about leadership and good governance in our country. Accordingly, the IDEG is establishing a fund to support an expanded program for the next 5 years. So in conclusion, let me thank you all. We believe IDEG's Public Service Memoir Fellowship Program is an important initiative that would facilitate the formulation of a national policy and institutional mechanism for the promotion of the writing of public service memoirs by our distinguished senior citizens. It is time to put writing, and therefore the documentation and archiving of the experiences, knowledge, and insights of Ghanaian senior citizens at the center of learning and building our national institutions and cultivating leadership of the finest kind, imbued with the values of selfless service to our motherland. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Phyllis Christian. In a nutshell, senior citizens, we are encouraging you to write your memoirs because we will learn so much from that. And just before we go on to our auction,